Thank you so much to everybody who's just come in. So here, these are the key things that we are going to cover in this presentation. So we're going to look at Year 9 dates. Year 9 for this term is an incredibly important term. Obviously, we've got our options process. We are going to talk about progress test information. So we've got a lot of information on the progress tests. I'm going to very quickly recap the CHS Scholar Learning Habit. I'm not going to spend too long on them because we did that last term. I'm going to recap the effort criteria. I'm going to look a little bit at the reporting process, a little bit on extracurricular, and then we're going to have an introduction to the Key Stage 4 options process. Now, as I said, the live chat is available. Myself and Miss Irwin will answer your questions where possible. If there's a question that we can't answer, we will take it and we'll get in contact with you at some point this week. I imagine most of the questions are going to be on progress tests and the Key Stage 4 options. And then obviously we've got the options evening this week. Okay, so that is what we are going to cover in the presentation. For those of you who've just bobbed in, thank you so much for coming this evening. This is recorded, so it's recording now. So if you need to come back to any of the information or you want us to go over anything again, then we can just communicate that. Okay, I'll hand you over to Miss Irwin. We're going to do a little swap now.
Like musical chairs. Hi everyone. So yeah, just going for the key dates. So if you haven't already received them, hopefully perhaps you have already. Yeah, getting a thumbs up from Miss Quinn. You'll have been sent out the options booklet, which will list all of the Key Stage 4 qualifications. Students will also have copies of this, so you can, I'm sure there'll be lots of students that potentially lose them. We'll have spares. So this week on Thursday at 6 o'clock in person is the parent event at school. It starts with a talk from Miss Morris, which is at 6 o'clock, and that'll be in the blue box. So if you can get here probably around sort of 5 to 6, listen to that. And then on Monday the 15th, we have the progress test fortnight. That's a 2-week cycle. More information on that will be given later on by Miss Quinn. And the week commencing the 5th of February, the option interviews begin for students. And we say interviews, but we're not really interviews. The year team are just sort of, making sure that students are picking appropriate subjects, gaining an insight into why they want to choose those subjects. And hopefully as parents, you'll have inputted in that decision as well. The Thursday the 8th, quite a lot going on, the parents' evening. So that again is in person. And that's just an opportunity for you as parents to meet with the teachers of, I'd say, if you go for the teachers of the curriculum areas that your child is interested in studying, then it's a bit of a kind of last minute Q&A really. You can kind of ask teachers appropriate questions and really work out if that's the right course for your child. And then Friday the 16th is the deadline. That will be the paper copy handed in to the form tutor, me or Miss Quinn, and that will have all their options on there. Now that's the deadline, the 16th. Obviously, you can hand it in before then. Obviously the earlier the better really. Don't worry, it's not first come, first served. So it's not if you hand it in on that date that your choices will be less likely. It just gives us a bit of time then so we can kind of allocate appropriate lessons and classes. And then, following this, are we on the next slide?
Yeah, sorry.
Come on, Miss Quinn.
Yeah, there you go.
So, progress test information. So as you can see, this will take place on Monday the 15th. It's a 2-week cycle, and so the progress test information, that's not a 2-week cycle, sorry. So that will be where you can find out all the kind of relevant materials needed, and be able to, Miss Quinn will be able to direct you to the student intranet later on. Students have been given blank revision timetables and exam timetables, and they will be up to them really then to find out when their specific progress test is. The key to this is for students not to worry. I know students panic massively during sort of progress tests But really, you know, they're designed to make sure that students are ready for Key Stage 4. And I always say, if we didn't do things like this and we just threw students into the gym, you know, year 11 and potentially be doing 27 exams, you can imagine that that probably wouldn't go down very well. And they're not only just to test like where the students are, but they're to work out where there might be some missing learning, so potential gaps in learning. If you feel that your child is particularly struggling, possibly with anxiety, or you know, is really worried about what will happen if they get a poor result, please direct them to me. You know, there's potentially 27 exams in year 11, 27 individual exams. So it's really important that we just get students ready and trained, and hopefully, you know, they'll have a lot of experience by the time they come to year 11. And now I will pass you back over, musical chairs again.
Thank you. Okay, so in the autumn term parental event with myself, I talked a lot about getting Key Stage 4 ready, which is exactly what Miss Irwin's just said, and she's hit the nail on the head. By doing these kind of assessment cycles, it gets them ready for year 11, okay? And Miss Irwin said it again, on average, students will sit around between 25 and 27 written exams in year 11. So we really are getting them into really good habits in year 9, ready for year 11. So that, you know, the better we can do in the progress tests now in terms of study habits, the better for the future. Okay, so I'm just going to share with you what the students have received. And a lot of this is based on parental feedback. So from parental feedback, parents fed back to us last year that they didn't get the information in enough time. They weren't signposted of where to support. So I'm going to tell you now where you can find that information, and I wanted to let you know what the students have had as well, because I think that's important, because we've been talking about this since week 5 last half term, before Christmas. So you can see here we had an assembly launch in week 5. Then students were given home study planners in personal development time. Anytime I say personal development time, it's form time, but it's more like a curriculum now. It's where we are embedding decent study habits ready for year 11 and year 10. So they were given home study planners and they were asked to plan their home study for week 1. Then the following week in form time and development time, they were asked to plan for study week 2. Then we had the Christmas break. I hope you all had a lovely Christmas and New Year. And then when we've come back, we are looking at week 3, week 4, and then obviously the progress tests start next week. Now, what we've been doing in form time is teaching the students how to revise. So teaching them revision techniques, very specific revision techniques in form time, with the idea that they go home and do that independently. And that's what we want. We want independent learners in good habits at this point in year 9, because as we know from research and data and history at CHS, you know, good study habits at this point translate to success in year 11. What will then happen after you've done a 2-week progress test cycle is we do something called feedback fortnight in class. And that is a 2-week cycle where in each subject area, they will look at how they've done, the missing knowledge, so the gaps in knowledge, and any misconceptions that have come up in classes, okay? And we'll go through that in detail, ready for the next test and ready for the next project. And then we will send all of that data home to you, and then you'll get your short report the week we break up for February half term. This is what students have been given, okay? So we've been given, on the left-hand side, they've been given a study timetable. And then what we've also done, again, this is from parental feedback from last year, is we've been really specific as to when the exams are. So last time we asked students to kind of fill it out themselves and speak to their teacher. But parents kind of said, that's not good enough. We need to know, it needs to be a bit more specific. Now, we can't give exact dates because we have too many students in too many curriculum areas. So, for example, in drama, we have 11 year 8 classes, and we have 5 year 9 classes. So it's really hard to timetable that in. But what we have done is, if you just look at the screen now, you will see that year 9, Their tests next week, so next week is the first week of the progress test cycle. They are going to be tested in maths, science, languages, whichever one they're studying, history, art, drama and PE. So you know that they need to be revising this week, okay, for next week's exams. What they also need to be doing is chunking their revision for the following week. So it's no good leaving English to next week to revise for the following week, because that's too much. That's information overload. We know that chunking the revision and doing different subjects at different points through your revision cycle works best, and it's good for long-term memory. Week 2 of the progress test, they're going to be tested in English, geography, EPR, music, dance, and any of the tech, so technology and computing, whichever rotation they are on in that cycle. So by giving these kind of clear schedules, it supports students with a balance of progress tests, so they're not all in the first week or all in the second week, and also it lets you know when they are, okay? And you'll see on the big timetable, maths, English and science, have obviously an actual date has been put in there because they are the big teams and they are all on at the same time, so it's very easy to calendar that. So that has been sent to students. That is also available on the website, which I'll signpost you in a minute. And students had an assembly with me this morning, and that was just a reminder again of when their tests are and how they should be revising. So this is kind of all of the information and communication we've been given to them, and obviously you as well. Now, I'm going to attempt to do something a bit maverick here because I'm not very good on the computer, I'm not going to lie. But how can you support as a parent? Now, the pastoral teams have worked so hard on this. So we've now got a home study, like a student life intranet that you can access, okay? So you're able to go on and look at exactly what students are going to be tested on in English. You can look at the homework in maths. You can look at knowledge maps and revision ideas for drama. So everything is all in one place. So because I've shared my screen, I should technically be able to share this. So you'll just have to let me know if this is working, or you can let me know. Miss Irwin's on another computer, so she can let me know. So has that come up? Am I still on the main screen? Okay, so if you just give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay, I told you it was Maverick, me trying to be technical. Ah, okay, there we go. Right, so can you see what I'm sharing there? Yeah. Okay, so you should be able to see the home learning intranet. I'm not going to lie, I'm very impressed with myself. I didn't think that was going to work. I tried it before, but it's good that it's worked. Okay, so on the school website, under the home learning tab, if you scroll down here, it will tell you everything you need to know to support your child in home learning and home study. Okay, so here, I'm not going to play it for you because you can just do that in your own time. But it is a walkthrough of the home study habits that students have had in lesson and in assembly and in form time. And it just shows you what they've been getting. So you can kind of echo our language, have a plan, organise your resources, evaluate. But if you echo in our language at home, obviously we've got more chance of success. Now here, if I'm scrolling down, are you coming down with me? Yeah, bro. Okay, it shows you the home learning structure for every single year group. So we're just in the middle there. It shows you the home learning plan. So you are able to click on the plan for year 9 and you'll be able to see what is being set or what should be set for every curriculum area and when, which is brilliant. And this is all in one place, which is, again, the pastoral teams have worked tirelessly to do this. Then when we go further down, we've got our home learning links. So these are links to all of the different things that are going to support, for example, Sparks, Educate, for English, Science and Computer Science, which is Key Stage 4. We've got Quizlet, we've got Teams. And we've got Seneca, which they'll be using more at Key Stage 4, but I know some students are already accessing that. Okay, and then when we go down, oh, sorry. Okay, where's my link? I've just lost the link. We go to year 9. Okay, progress tests. Has that gone on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So if you go on the progress test tab, okay, it will show you everything that you need to know, okay? So if you click on year 9 spring progress test information, okay, so I will open that. It tells you, you should be able to see there, okay, for English, what I need to know, keywords I need to know, okay, and for every single subject, it's like a little kind of tick list of revision things that they need to do. So that translates over to their revision timetable. So again, it's a comprehensive list of everything that they are studying and what they need to revise. Now, students know this already. They were told this in week 5 of last half term. So they've got a good understanding of where to go and kind of how to use it. And they also had a follow-up assembly today with me. What we've also got here is a copy of the progress test study planner, which again, they were given last half term. But if I scroll down, it tells you exactly, okay, when their tests are. So what they've been given in form time is time to populate this timetable. So Maths, English and Science already done. So they can say my French test is on Tuesday the 16th of January, period 3. And from that, they can create their own revision timetable. What we've also got here is kind of supporting students through the test. So we've got an intranet video of support, and we've also got loads of materials on how to revise, memorising, mind mapping. So mind mapping is one of the revision techniques that we've been pushing with year 9 massively through form time. So they've had kind of opportunities to mind map in form time with the support of their form tutor. Revision cards, revision plans, visualization. So these are all of our revision study habits that we are teaching them kind of as we go through year 9. So here you should have absolutely everything that you need to support your child through the progress tests. Obviously, if there is any questions or any extra support that you need, then just let us know. But that is where you will kind of be signposted. It's all on the website, it's all live, and it's all ready to go, okay? If there's any questions, obviously, yeah, just pop them into chat, but hopefully that's quite self-explanatory. So I'm just going to go back to the PowerPoint, hopefully. Am I back on? Yeah. Okay. No. So I'm just going to whiz through to where I'm up to. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, fab. So we're up to here. So hopefully that's really useful. And as I say, students have had that information for a long time. And I've seen this happen in form where they're populating their timetables and revising in form time as well and in lesson. So curriculum areas and their class teachers have been telling them how to revise in that specific subject. Okay, I won't talk too long about this because this is something that we went through in the autumn term, but the Scholar Habits is something new that we've been driving last year, and it's key habits that we've been driving in form time. So we've got a lot of Scholar Habits, but the ones that I'm just going to whiz through now are the ones that your children have had in form time and assembly. So again, it's just for you to echo that language at home to help them be successful. So the first one is get organised and think about the steps you need to take to be successful. So we've been looking at them getting organised with their equipment, with their books, filling out their glossaries in the back, making sure that their contents page are filled up so it's good revision habits. So what we ask you to do to support as a parent is actively looking at the exercise books and celebrating them. Now, myself and Miss Irwin have the joy of going round lessons and looking at books all of the time. And they are gorgeous. There's some incredible work going on around school. So have a little look at how they're revising and have a little look at the books. And I did say this last term, and I did get some feedback that you've been looking as well from some parents. So thank you for that. But what we want to do is encourage them to go back to their exercise books and use them as a revision tool, because that's why we are driving the Scholar Habits. We are driving them to be organised and get their books beautifully presented, so it's a positive revision tool when they come to their progress tests. Scrappy bits of paper, things not stuck in, no organisation with contents page, you open that, you don't want to revise. When it's beautiful, it looks good, it's organised, you know, your content page says go to drama skills, you skip to drama skills, you know you need to revise that. So that would be great for you to support at home. The other one that we've been pushing massively since well before Christmas is the home study habits. So we want students to have a plan, organise their resources, whether that's their book, whether that's their online platforms, whether it's external revision materials their teacher's been giving them, maximising their study habits and using what we have been teaching them in school. For example, mind mapping, one of our big revision tools we've been pushing with Year 9. And it's all about evaluating their progress. So it's all, you know, fine and well to kind of study a topic in science. If you don't then test yourself, low stakes testing, okay? Get feedback from your teacher, do the quizzes online that your teacher is setting or their teacher is setting. So what we ask you to do is to support that. So, you know, allowing them to have a kind of a space in the house, if possible, where they can concentrate, where they can study, encourage them to revisit previous learning, and making sure that they are doing their homework. So again, now that you've got access to that intranet kind of online, you can see what is being set when. You can go onto their teams and navigate around with them to help support them. So that is another big scholar habit we have been driving. And then the other one is obviously attendance and punctuality. So an example of this is this morning, sorry, actually on Friday, all of your children had their options assembly with myself and Miss Morris. And we introduced the options process, what that looks like, the subjects that they're going to take. And we had about kind of 10 students who turned up late to the assembly. So they missed key information right at the beginning of that assembly. And we need to make sure that we are getting students in on time and getting to lessons on time. Now, some of you will have received my wonderful Friday emails, and that's an Arbor ping to you to let you know how many times your child has been late to lesson. The issue that we've got here, and this is explained in the email, so if you haven't had the ping, then your child has been attending to lessons on time, which is great. In the way that we work our kind of lessons at the minute, and this is from research, and this is from us, kind of our training with staff, is at the very beginning of the lesson, the first 5 to 10 minutes, we do recall. So what we do is we look at knowledge retention from the previous lesson, the last month and the last year. And we do low stakes quizzing, so direct questions to students on what they've learnt last lesson. What knowledge have they retained? And it's just a dead quick kind of Q&A, and students don't put the hand up. It's called cold calling, and you know, everybody's involved. When students turn up 5 minutes late for the lesson, they are missing the recall element of the lesson, and it's such an important part. We know that that's what helps stick in our long-term memory by going over the kinds of the knowledge, and it sticks to other knowledge. So that is what we've been driving with students for years, really. So we know that those first 5 to 10 minutes are incredibly important. They also set you up for the rest of the lesson. A positive start to the lesson obviously results in a positive lesson, and that's what we want for learning. So in terms of kind of how you could support, we know we can't always have 100% attendance, but it is an aspiration for everybody. But what we want is we want children to get to lesson on time. That is our biggest drive with the year team. Now, I'm going to continue the pings home every Friday for this half term. So that lets you know how many minutes or how many times your child has been late to lesson. And after this, hopefully you'll understand why the beginning of the lesson is so important. And, you know, the year team are working really, really hard on that, okay? Effort. I think this is over to you. Yeah, okay, I'm just going to pass over to Miss Irwin again.
Hiya. So effort is obviously really, really important. It's a really good figure to analyse in terms of, you know, knowing where your child is at. Are they working to the best of their ability? Obviously, excellent effort is one. and poor effort is 4, and that is the same for homework. So yeah, the homework is the same concept as the classwork, whether they've handed it in on time, whether it's to a good, what's the word I'm looking for? Quality. Thank you, Ms. Quinn. Also, support is available for homework. I know most students, a lot of students struggle with, you know, potentially finding a bit of space, or being at home is distracting for them. We do have a homework club, and it's here, and it's in F13. It's from 2:45 every single day. It's staffed, so there is people there that can potentially help, you know, with a certain piece of work. And some students find it easier to stay in school, particularly kind of in year 10 and year 11. There's loads of stuff going on after school as well. So it'd be a good habit for, you know, your child to get into, really, is just kind of putting an hour aside or half an hour aside. Quite often when we give these messages out, the students that really need to listen to them don't listen to them, and the students that really don't need to listen to them, if that makes sense. So it can cause a lot of stress and anxiety, you know, particularly with students kind of worrying about, well, what happens if I, you know, don't get a mark, or, you know, am I going to be moved to bottom set? No is the obvious answer to that. So, I mean, in terms of what you were saying before about how you can support as a parent, having 2 children myself come through this school actually and leave, I think it's just really important, you know, to make sure that they aren't working like stupidly hard and late. Keep an eye on them in terms of, they're still connecting with the friends, are they eating, you know, are they sleeping well, you know, all this, and just make sure, you know, they're kind of, you know, going out and having a bit of fun in between, you know, what can be seen as quite a stressful period. It really isn't stressful. The progress tests are in the classrooms, and, you know, we don't kind of, it's not designed to be stressful for the students. But I know that, you know, if any of you feel that your child is a little bit worried about that, or, you know, may need a little conversation or some extra support, please do get in touch with me. All right, back to Ms. Quinn.
Thank you. Okay, so we are about to come on to the options process, which I think is probably where we're going to get most of our questions. Just a little heads up that the extracurricular clubs start next week. So you will get another email from me, sorry, you're going to be sick of my name, explaining the clubs that we've got on offer this term, and the booking system will open this weekend, and all clubs will start on Monday. We're a little bit behind a bit because we came back so early, but all clubs will start next week, and the booking system will be open this weekend, and it'll give you a couple of days to read through the booklet. Again, that's feedback from parents, that there wasn't enough time to read the booklet and get to the booking system. So I'll give you plenty of time. So I should be able to send that at some point tomorrow, at the latest Thursday. Clubs wise, sorry, I'm just clicking through them now. It doesn't want to play now. There we go. Oh, hello. I don't know what's going on there. Okay. Right, I'm just going to leave that because it's just started going a bit crazy. Okay, so this is the options process for 2024. So just to give you a little bit of information about what students have had so far. Over the last kind of 2 months, really, students in assembly have had a dedicated slot to the options process. So what we've had is curriculum leaders for every option subject: history, geography, RE, drama, dance, all of the option subjects. The curriculum leader has come in and spoke to every single year 9 in assembly on a Tuesday morning. And what they've done is they've just gone through key information for their subject, what the exam looks like, what they'll enjoy, the dedication that's needed. So, you know, if they enjoy that subject, then it's going to be subject for them. If they don't enjoy it and, you know, they don't like the practical element, then it's not for them. So this kind of broke down the subject content really ahead of the process that we've started with you today. They finish next week, and then what I will do is all of the PowerPoint slides from every curriculum area, I'm going to gather all of them together and then send them to you as well. So you've got the options booklet that I sent to you this morning with the options form for your child. And then we've also got a kind of PowerPoint presentation from each curriculum area, which just delves a little bit deeper because it looks at things like careers in that curriculum area, and it looks at what you might enjoy, which is obviously very important. Today, the booklet was sent out to you with the forms, and students will get the forms on Thursday ahead of the options evening. And then on Thursday evening at 6 o'clock, we've got our options evening in person. And as Miss Irwin said, we've got Miss Morris's speech at 6 o'clock. And then there's like a marketplace, so you can go and visit every kind of curriculum area. So you can speak to the RE teachers and ask the kind of what subject content and ask any questions that you've got. Then we've got options interviews, which will be with the year team. And that, like Miss said, it's just a little chat, 5-minute chat about why they've opted for each subject and whether it's the right option for them. Then we've got a parents' evening, and then obviously the deadline for pathways. So I'm going over that again because this half term is like year 9. So there's a lot going on for year 9 students and for you. And it's a lot of information because, you know, they are only year 9 and they're making a huge decision about their future. But this is why we have such a comprehensive options process, to give them plenty of time and plenty of information to digest and make the right decisions. And, you know, we've got the options process right because, you know, current year 10 who opted last year are all very happy in the subjects that they've taken, apart from the odd one here and there. You know, we've got it right. So I'm just going to hand back over to Miss Irwin, who's going to go through what this means.
Okay, so in terms of choices, then what we would ask is, obviously with the core subjects, all students will be doing those, the English, the Maths, the Science, the RE, and the core PE, which I think is 2 hours a week. Then students would choose from one of the EBAC, the HUMs, so Geography, History, or one of the MFLs, French and Spanish. And I think that the majority of students there will probably pick, in terms of languages, what they've previously studied. It would make no sense for a student who's done, you know, 3 years of French to then change to Spanish. Although, you know, if that child is particularly interested in it and has been learning it outside of school, then fair play. Can I just say Duolingo, get on that. 223-day streak. So then they would pick from one of the arts and one of the generals. You could potentially pick from 2 of the arts. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. And I've just seen that the digital information technology, no, that's right, sorry, design technology is now part of the arts team, the arts group. So, you know, have a look through all of those. There are different qualifications in terms of GCSEs and BTECs. So quite a lot of those subjects, obviously not the cores and not the HUMs or the languages, but they also run, the generals also run BTECs as well. So that's, you know, the equivalent of a GCSE, just a different way of doing it. And that's it really. We would encourage students to, you know, all students really to choose a humanities and a language. And we would discourage, if you like, students to pick, so for example, art and photography, which are quite a similar subject. But when we just discussed earlier about having interviews with students, that's the sort of thing that we can pick up because, for example, art and photography are quite similar. So we would sort of discourage that. In terms of options, I know Miss will go through this again in a minute, but I would pick 2 reserves, as well as the ones that you kind of desperately want to do. And if by any chance there's a, you know, that a student can't do that particular subject, sometimes in terms of timetabling, it's just impossible. It's very rare, but it does happen. Then we would have a conversation with that student, would never just sort of change the option without any say. They would have, you know, get to be able to give their opinion about which ones they would want to potentially swap into. And as parents as well, you'll be informed. So I'm going to hand you back over to Miss now.
Hi everybody. Okay, so I've just had a message from Miss Jordan. Thank you, Miss Jordan, that we've got some questions in Q&A, but I'd kind of disabled it, but I've just re-enabled it because not everybody can get on chat. So I will go through those questions at the end, don't worry. Okay, so that is kind of our curriculum for year 10. This is the options form that got emailed to you today. So you will have had an options booklet outlining all of the qualifications on offer. And then you've got an options form on email. Now, your child is going to get a hard copy of this as well, but I just wanted to send you so you knew what it looked like. And as you can see, we pick an arts option from the top, humanities, language, and a general, and then we have 2 reserved choices. Now, as Miss said, you can put an arts option in the arts box and another arts option in the general. That is absolutely fine. You know, we have quite artsy students who want to do 2, not a problem. Now, the reserved choices, as Miss said, are just there because of timetabling constraints. So, for example, if you have 1 business class and 1 dance class, and a student has opted for both, but they are both on at the same time, they can't possibly take them both because they're both taught on a Monday morning, for example. So what we do in that instance is we come to reserve choice 1. We will speak to the student directly and say, you've picked RE as your reserve choice. Do you still want that? If it's a yes, we put them in that subject. If it's a no, they've changed their mind, we'll have a conversation about it, okay? And then reserve choice 2 is very, very, very rarely used. But again, that's just if their arts choice and their general choice clash. So, you know, and perhaps their first reserve clashes as well, because we've got 3 on at the same time. So that is what their options form looks like. Okay. A reminder that the head teacher's speech starts at 6 o'clock. I know a lot of people come to the options evening to dip into the marketplace, but Ms Morris will go through the options process in a bit more detail, talk about BTECs and GCSEs in a bit more detail. I will be there, Miss Irma will be there, and we have several members of SLT and the year team who are there to kind of answer any questions that you've got, as well as all of the curriculum leaders from each subject area. So I'm just going to go to some of the questions. Oh yeah, sorry, Miss Irwin's kind of answered. This will be general questions anyway, so let me just scroll down. So GCSE triple science is decided by the science team, but it's usually the top couple of sets who will do triple science. That is decided in year 10. So everybody will start on combined science, and then in year 10, the team very quickly will decide who's doing triple science. So that is done in lesson. It doesn't change their timetable. All of the triple science lessons happen during their normal science lesson. So it doesn't tweak anything at all. Everything stays the same. So that answers that question. So let me just scroll down. GCS students have the option to do further maths. Again, that happens during the start of year 10 towards the end of year 9. That is decided by the maths team, and it will be on offer to some students, absolutely. Okay, let me just go down.
In core and general. So I'm just going to say.
What was that, sorry?
RE is in core.
So RE is in core and general. Oh, okay, good question. Very good question, actually. Okay, so in our core, we have religious education and what we call respect. So legally, we have to teach RE until the end of year 11, okay? But what we've done is we've combined that into our respect curriculum, which your children will have experience from year 7 through to now. So in year 10, they'll have an hour of respect. And that's looking at things like community, sex education, discrimination. So we're looking at those topics. RE is in the general, and that is a qualification. So the core RE in respect and core PE is not a qualification. They are compulsory things on the national curriculum we have to teach. You do not get a grade in those for core. PE and RE in general, okay, is a qualification. So you will study it as a GCSE or a BTEC. So a PE has PE GCSE and sport studies BTEC. I can't actually see all the questions here. Have you got any more, Miss?
Just individual questions, really, which I can reply to.
Okay, so Miss Irwin is just replying to some individual questions. If there's any more questions about the options process or progress tests or any comments, then please add into the chat. either the chat or the Q&A. It should be live for everybody now. Other than that, that's all of the information for this evening. Thank you very much for listening, and we very much look forward to seeing you in person on Thursday. So on Thursday is the options evening, 6 till 8, with the head teacher's speech at 6. Miss Irwin and I will stay on chat for the next kind of 5-10 minutes. So feel free to leave and go and have your tea and have a lovely evening. Or you can stay on chat with us. That's absolutely fine. You can do it on the Q&A or the chat. But other than that, thank you so much for your time and for listening. Hope you have a lovely evening.